So you want to play a warrior that is very skillful in PvP on the side note and is very strong in ranked. This build is for you. This is an alteration of the very classical condition Berserker build, and all the credits to this build and also all the credits for showcasing this build to Drasse. Thanks a lot for showing it on stream. So I'm just promoting the build and want to explain how it works and let you know that this is a really cool build. With that disclaimer out of the way, let's start with the gear. So for gear, it's really interesting. Normally you would run with a Rabbit Amulet, but this time we go with Sage. Sage, a Keem Relic, just really strong because you're still playing Mace and Sword in the offhand. The Mace is extremely strong with the Berserker form F1 skill, so that makes it so that you apply a lot of confusion with your Skullgrinder, and this leads to a very big confusion spike with the Relic of Akeem. For Rune, you can go Rule of Dolyak, this is the most defensive one. If you need more damage, you can go for Trapper Rune, but I think especially with this build, if you get your confusion bursts, you actually have quite a lot of damage. So more defense makes this build even better because you don't have any toughness in contrast to having normally with Rabbit Amulet. The reason you play Sage with this build is because you drop your Longbow for Staff. Staff delivers way more sustain, but Longbow has more damage. So if you, for example, know what you can do with the Longbow, this build is a little bit less on the offensive side, but more on the defensive side. So you can hold out numbers way easier in this meta with the Staff. So this is why this build shines currently in ranked, I would say, because you can easily tank a lot of people even though you are outnumbered. So Staff helps a lot with that. And on the offhand, like I said, Mace and Sword, really important that you have those. For sigils, you want to go with Doom and Cleansing, and on the other weapon set with Energy and the Confusion sigil, so that you have a longer confusion duration on your burst. Almost all of the damage you provide with this build is reliant on landing your Skullgrinder, so your F1 in the Berserker form, the burst skill. So if you don't land that consistently, or if your opponent consistently dodges this build is a worse bunker. Yeah? So be really careful that you play this build in the correct setup. So if you know you need a tanky build that can hold outnumbered situations and you can consistently land your Skullgrinders, for example in ranked where you face a lot of opponents that don't know how to dodge this, and this build shines. But if you play this in a situation where you fight players that consistently dodge this or just know how to avoid it, this build gets a little bit tougher. So for traits, you want to run Defense, Discipline, and Berserker. Defense just provides you a lot of defenses, protection and healing skill, passive healing, and damage reduction and resolution, really strong. Then your burst skills apply weakness, really nice as well, just to overload enemies with your Skullgrinder with conditions. If you really feel like you need it, you can drop it for the reflect, but I would say the nice thing of this is the condition overload, so the reflect on blocking can be helpful on those two skills, but that's it. And then you have some nice resistance on dodge, really, really strong. And lastly, of course, Glancing Ire, just to get more adrenaline, but more importantly, remove conditions when you land with your burst skills. So really strong. Then Discipline gives you adrenaline weapon swap. Weapon swaps recharges faster. That's also the reason why you run different sigils. So 4 different ones because they have 9-second cooldown. So you can proc them off cooldown. Then you get some might and burst skills can reduce recharge reduction. Then you move faster and your movement skills remove immobilize, really good, especially with the staff skills. Then condition remove on weapon swap, and your burst skills give you a little bit more adrenaline, or give you adrenaline back when you use them, really strong. And you get swiftness. Then Berserker, you get access to your Berserk form. When you enter Berserk form, it stun breaks and gives you 1 second damage invulnerability to power damage, really, really good. Then you get a 3-second healing skill, really, really nice as well. And then Eternal Champion, whenever you exit Berserk mode, you always get the same buffs that you when you enter them, and you can exit it early, so that's also really strong. So if you need the invulnerability, for example, you can do that, as well as you get endurance and stability when you enter Berserk mode. So those 3 traits make it really, really strong to play just together. And you get some nice quickness always and super speed when you enter or exit Berserk mode. And Mokondi and power damage, just really, really strong. Berserk mode is the thing that gives you most damage. When you have it up, you get all the buffs here and you get a lot of damage with your Skullgrinder. When you don't have it up, you are a little bit less useful. You just want to survive until you have it back up. Very important here to notice that your healing skill is one of the most important skills in your kit to cleanse conditions. So use that wisely. Of course, it's also a nice heal. This is a nice stability skill, also block and reflects missiles, so really strong. Be aware, this will increase the duration of your Berserk form when you use it in Berserk form. If it hits, really strong. So try to use it there, just to get more Skullgrinders off. Then this is a nice leap finisher and also increases the duration of a Berserk form. It's really strong when you can land it because it also applies vulnerability, just more conditions, deals damage, gives adrenaline. It's really, really strong and removes immobilize because it's a jump. And then you have your only stun break in this kit, except from the Berserk form. And it's a nice Conti cleanse as well. So this is really strong. If you get pressured a lot, just use it wisely because it's really, really important. And then lastly, we have Signet of Rage. Gives you passive adrenaline. And if you really want to use it for a big, nice burst with 20 might, you can use that, especially if you landed, for example, 2 Skullgrinders in a row. You know, the confusion will take really hard if you have this 20 might. And then on your weapon set, of course, use your blocks defensively. Use your Impale as your only weapon skill that does some decent damage, except for the Skullgrinder. So use that, of course, off cooldown as well. And use your Interrupt on your 3 is not nice. And then Staff, that's why this build is so tanky. You have some nice healing on your 3 and your 2. Also some nice movement skill here. The 4 is a really nice pull. You can also recast the 4 just by swapping and doing about face. So even though this is not recastable, so not changeable where it goes, you can by about face land this quite consistently if you run away and swap in the last second. So people get pulled to you. It can be really helpful, for example, to line up your burst on your Skullgrinder. Yeah. And last, we have a nice block and the heal. So really, really strong kit. The F1 skill on Staff is a nice heal. So use that as well in Berserk form. Both of them are really strong. So you can see in the background, this build can survive really, really nicely because of the Staff and also the just baseline defensive with Berserker. But it's very, very bursty if you land the Akeem Relic and Skullgrinder. So it's really fun to play and very skillful in my opinion. And it might be one of the best side nodes right now. I hope you enjoyed this quick guide. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks a lot for all the supporters on Twitch and Patreon, especially Timo, and hope to see you in the next video.